this pig that you see in this picture, his name is Frank Toledo, and he was a Paterson, New Jersey cop, and he just recently pleaded guilty to a plethora of excessive force charges. Now, it says that, according to this article coming from the Atlanta Black Star, and this is what the title reads: I beat that N-word like he owed me money. That was one of the quotes that he used. It says that he faces up to 40 years in jail. Let me tell you right now, the key words there is up to. An FBI investigation to several police officers in Paterson, New Jersey has led to a seventh one being charged. So it was 6 others before him. But I guess his story was pretty interesting, which is why they decided to talk about him in specific. On Tuesday, Frank Toledo pled guilty in U.S. District Court in Newark to a conspiracy to violate people's civil rights, using excessive force and filing a false police report. The U.S. Attorney's Office and our law enforcement partners remain committed to identifying and prosecuting corrupt officers who violate the civil rights of our people. We will continue to aggressively pursue these cases, and we are grateful to our counterparts at the FBI, the Paterson Police Department, and the Passaic County Prosecutor's Office for the dedicated assistance of this investigation. On the false police report charge, Toledo, age 30, would work with fellow officers Matthew Torres, I'm not sure if I pronounced his name correctly, Ramos, Daniel Pent, and Jonathan Bustillos, who have also been charged in the probe along with 2 other officers not involved with Toledo, to stop and search vehicles without justification. The officers would loot the vehicles of valuables and cash, splitting it among themselves. That doesn't surprise me whatsoever. They have been known to take money and any type of drugs that they didn't plant on people and use them for their own personal gain. I mean, there's also been stories where a lot of these officers would go into the evidence locker, and if there was some drugs there, they would go and take some or sometimes all of it and use it for themselves. And stealing money wasn't just reserved for traffic stops. The newspaper also reported that they'd stop and frisk people on the street and steal their money. To conceal the cash they took during stops, Toledo and his comrades would file false police reports. One example of that came on December 2nd, 2017. Then Toledo and Ramos stopped and arrested a person in Paterson and kept $1,000 in cash for themselves. In the false arrest affidavit, the officers did not include the money they took from the detainee. Such activities were communicated through text messages using mango as a code word for cash. Yo, what the fuck are you doing? I'm trying to go mango hunting. Let's go. Bustillos text Toledo on November 6, 2017. There were also apparent admissions of using excessive force on residents, which resulted in 3 charges. In one case, Toledo texted Bustillos about chasing down an arrested juvenile. He also shoved the juvenile into the ground and punched him several times. He says, I've been borderline blacking out when I catch these N-words, Toledo told Bustillos as he recalled the chase and beatdown. I beat that N-word like he owed me money. Now, notice how he said that. He says he blacks out when he goes after black people. Like, when someone tells you that they're blacking out, that means they lose all sense of control. Like, they literally go into a state of rage that is uncontrollable until they are ready to stop, or someone by chance has some kind of an object to knock them out with. Almost think of it like somebody who's on bath salts. That's how someone will be when they black out times 10. It says he added to Bustillos that he unleashed on the juvenile. He was no longer a cop. Now listen to that. He said he was no longer a cop. So basically what he's saying is when he went to that state of rage, that blackout moment, he no longer saw himself as a cop. Doesn't mean he was no longer a cop working. He just saw himself just being a regular person on the street that just pretty much beat the crap out of somebody. Another incident saw Toledo and Ramos chasing and tackling a resident and hitting the person multiple times in an incident that was captured on video and uploaded to YouTube. The individual was later released without charges. They are literally acting and moving like a gang, like gang members. And they have the nerve to say that black people are the ones terrorizing the community. Nuh-uh, they are. and they're hiding behind that badge to do it. A third use of force incident came when Toledo and Torres arrested someone, handcuffed the person behind his back, and placed them in the backseat of their squad car. Driving the detainee, Toledo pressed the brake pedal into the floor, which slammed the person's head and body against the car's divider. Toledo captured the moment on his phone and sent it around. The public should take notice that the officers we have lost with recent prosecutions are officers who are not worthy of carrying the shield for this police department. I will continue to work tirelessly to see that every officer working for this department demonstrates respect for the members of this community. For Toledo's alleged crimes, he faces up to 40 years in prison. Toledo, who admitted to investigators that he gave false statements, is scheduled for sentencing on October 22nd, 2019. You know how I said that they're operating like a gang? How much do you want to bet that they probably were engaged in gang-like activity before they joined the police force, but in order to hide behind that gang activity, they signed up to be police officers so they could hide behind that badge, that gun, and those, that uniform. I'm actually surprised after reading this story that none of them, as far as we know, killed anybody. See, they did all of this for shits and giggles. They did this for fun because they thought that it would be just hilarious to go around and terrorizing people. But they're supposed to be here to protect and serve, right? But they're doing and engaging in activity like this. And this doesn't surprise me in the least bit whatsoever. But you know what? They need to also look into that department too, because see, they need to look into seeing who in the world is involved with the hiring and the training processes when it comes to training and hiring people like this. Because you can't tell me that that there wasn't some blemishes when they were testing, not with the way they were acting. And to me, it seems like this guy was a ringleader, because it seemed like every incident that I read, he was involved with. And look at those last names: Toledo, Bustios, Ramos. Sounds like some of those quote unquote brown individuals that some black people believe is a coalition along with the word black. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I will talk to you in the next one.